Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung, and class is now in session. I want to plug a quick date. I added one more show date to my calendar for July. On July 22nd, I will be at the Comedy Chateau at 8 p.m. for a show. That's on a Thursday. Comedy Chateau is in North Hollywood, so that's in Los Angeles. If you're in SoCal, please come and see me, and I would be very happy to see you. Today's July 4th. It's 4th of July, and I had lunch with a comedian friend of mine over at Parks Barbecue, and she asked me about the whole We Spa situation. She was like, I just want to get your opinion. Like, as a Korean, what do you think of the whole thing that went down? I was like, well, I think if We Spa is letting trans folks go and be their trans selves, which is their true identity, their true gender identity, then I support We Spa, right? Like if We Spa is saying like this trans woman is a woman and she has every right to be in the woman's bathroom, in the women's locker room, in the women's bath, then I say that's okay. And the people who are complaining saying that that's not okay because there are children around, it's like, yo, if your kid is old enough to see vaginas and titties, they're old enough to see some cock and balls. All right. And my friend goes, well, I feel like if this trans person was a post-op trans person, then yeah, they should be allowed to go in the women's room. And I said, no, because a lot of trans people can't afford to get surgery. There are a lot of trans people who can't risk their lives to get surgery. There are a lot of trans people who can't take hormones because they can't afford it, or it's illegal or whatever. I don't think those kinds of barriers should prevent them from being able to live their full lives as the gender that they identify as. And then she goes, well, then anybody can just walk in and just claim to be trans and be whatever. And I was like, no, not everybody does that. Most people don't do that. And this comic that I'm talking to, she happens to be a Black woman. And I said to her, I was like, look, it takes bold people to create change. If we want our society to change, then we need to rely on these bold people. What this trans woman did, it was bold, And then I said to my friend, I was like, listen, somebody had to sit at the front of the bus. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do that for the first time. And that was bold for her, right? For Rosa Parks. That was bold to sit in front of the bus because nobody else was doing it. And to me, like, that's what this trans person did. I have been going through a lot of emotional processing the past week. I did this GoFundMe campaign to raise money for my short film to complete the post-production costs. And to my overwhelming surprise, shock, and gratitude, I was able to meet my goal within 3 days. And then on the fourth day, I had additional donations coming in, even though I'd already met my goal. So I closed my GoFundMe page on the fifth day because I already met my goal and people were now giving me excess support. And I just ended it because I didn't want to keep on adding names to my long thank you credits list. Over 60 people donated. And I know that $3,000 and 60 some odd people doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, that's a lot. I am immensely grateful to everyone who donated. I am completely moved. I'm blown away. Like, I was crying a lot during therapy talking about this experience, and my therapist just said, you're blown away. And I was like, that is absolutely the correct phrase. Like, that is appropriate right now. I was blown away. I was floored. I never really took the time to confront the fact that I have issues when it comes to my self-worth. I always knew I had this problem, but I didn't head on confront it and address it. And this GoFundMe campaign was a great exercise in getting me to confront that issue with myself. It was also a great exercise in being aware and mindful of gratitude and not letting my mind wander into the other space, which is the negative space, the empty space, the space where, how do you say, the structured absence, as they put it in academia. The structured absence, meaning while I'm seeing all the outpour of love and support, I'm also seeing where people did not respond, where people did not give any money. And this includes some close friends of mine, friends who have money, actually. The irrational yet rational pattern that I noticed is that the people who donated the most happened to be artists, namely comedians and illustrators, and graduate students or people in academia, meaning the people who make the least money in our society, the people who are the most underappreciated in our society. And the people who have money, friends of mine who have money, they did not add support to this campaign. They didn't even write to me, like respond to my emails to say, hey, I wish you luck with this endeavor. And I feel like that's something that they could have done, even if they didn't want to donate money. They could have just written to me and said, I support you. I'm here. And that's because those people think that money is the only thing that matters. And that's why they're not artists. That's why they're not thinkers. Artists and thinkers are different. They're different specimen. They always will be. People who only think about money, they are not somebody that is ever going to be familiar to me. Like, there will always be this gulf between me and people who only think of money. Money is just something that I need in order to get this vehicle complete. But the fact is, I completed the majority of this film without a single fucking cent. In any case, with every donation that came in and every kind word that came in, I was beating myself up about it. I felt shame. I felt guilt. I felt a sense of unworthiness. And I had to forcibly code switch that in my mind. I was like, Grace, you only feel and think this way because you have a low sense of self-worth. You don't value yourself. You have low self-esteem. You have abandonment issues. You have fucking problems. So I had to switch it. I had to actively switch it. And the way that I did that is I said, if you donate to this campaign, I am going to write you a personal email. And I did that with every single donor. I wrote them a personal email. I was fully present in that moment. I was writing as I was processing things that were actively occurring in my mind. As feelings were coming up, I was actively processing them together with the donor. Right? Because I'm writing to them. And I was working this stuff out. And, during therapy, I was hysterically crying at one point because I said, I don't have much to give. In terms of something to give, I feel like I don't have a lot. But the one thing I do have are my words. And I feel like I'm a decent writer. That's the one thing I worked on my whole life. And I feel like that is all I can offer. So I wrote to them the most heartfelt letter that I could write. One with all of my heart, my mind fully present, and every single letter was unique. No letter was the same. I did not copy and paste anything. So I think I broke down. I started crying a lot during therapy while saying that because that to me was just this evidence that I'm coming to recognize, or I'm coming to terms with my talents, you know? I'm finally giving myself that credit, which everybody else has been giving me, but I have not been able to give that credit to myself. And I'm finally able to do that by saying I'm a decent writer. I didn't say I'm a good writer. I didn't say I'm the best writer. I said I'm a decent writer because I worked on it, and that's all I have to offer are my words. And, I was sort of thinking back on the days when I used to hang out with the same few girls growing up. And every Christmas I would write them a Christmas card. And there was this one Christmas, I think it was the last Christmas that the group all stayed together. I did not give them a Christmas card. Or maybe the year before. There was just one Christmas where I did not give a Christmas card. And they all looked shocked. They were like, wait, you don't have a Christmas card for us? I was like, no, I didn't write them this year. And they were all just surprised. And they were like sad that they didn't get one. Which at the time I didn't understand. I didn't understand what the fucking problem was. But now today, I understand what that was. They wanted my words. My words meant something to them. My words were a gift to them. So I'm still, processing a lot of this stuff. I'm still processing the emotions, but I am immensely grateful to friends, to strangers, to colleagues, people who gave, even though they have a lot of financial precarity and difficulty. And so that's why I say it's irrational, but rational. It's irrational in that, artists should not be the ones paying to help other artists, because all artists are suffering. The ones who should be paying are these money-obsessed fucking idiots who lack compassion, who lack heart. All they have is money. All they think about is money. All they do is think about spending money, and they have no direction. I mean, they don't have the spirit that we do. So, yeah, seeing the backwardsness of my society and my systems, like that's something that pissed me off. So I'm trying to exorcise that demon out of me, because it's not worth thinking about. It's not worth sitting on. And that's always been the world. That's always going to continue. That's going to continue to be the case. And to bitch and moan about how unfair all of that is just not productive. It's certainly not productive for them either, for convenient reasons, but for artists, for me, it's stupid to give energy and waste time and dwell on that shit. Because I got so much love from my community this past week and a half, and I am very, very grateful to everybody. So thank you. It was humbling. Even Renee, Tajima Pena, for Who Killed Vincent Chin, I mean, she donated. Come on, like, what do I have to complain about? I should shut the fuck up. Like, a master filmmaker donated to my humble campaign, and I finished the film. As soon as I got $2,000 in the bank, I paid my sound mixer immediately, and then she sent me the deliverables. I finished editing my film. I added the names that I could, and then I submitted. I submitted to all the festivals that I wanted to so far. There are more festivals that are opening up in August and September and all the way to January, and that's probably going to cost me another, $700, but whatever. I'll worry about that later. But for now, I finished my movie, I paid my sound mixer, and I started donating to festivals, and that's what matters. That's what counts. I did a lot this week. I did a lot of drawings. I wrote a lot of letters. I did a lot of journaling. I was neglecting some of my academic stuff, and I got some academic things that are burning right now. They're just burning a huge hole on my desk at the moment. But I have to prioritize my feelings right now, and I have to prioritize my inner being right now. I have to prioritize these feelings, because I can feel things moving around and clicking and working. And I've been obsessively listening to David Cho's interviews on podcasts. Like this past week, I listened to him on number 300 on Tiger Belly. I listened to him talk with Steve Yeun, to Bobby Lee and Kalila and the team. And then right after that, I watched his interview with Joe Rogan. Not the first one, but the second one, the one that he did last year around this time. And yeah, and I watched all 4 episodes of the Cho Show on FX. And next week I'm gonna review that one. Like next week I'm not gonna do like a Korean language K-drama. I'm gonna do a Korean American K-drama called The Cho Show, which is it's not even a narrative. It's a variety show. It's a talk show. It's a podcast. It's a art project. It's performance art. It's therapy. It's everything. It's everything that I want in a show, and he did it. And I love that show so much. I watched all 4 episodes in like one day and cried a lot through every single episode. And I've been meditating on it a lot. I've been thinking about it a lot. And, you know, I want to give it the time that it is due. So I'm going to dedicate next week's podcast specifically to the Cho Show and David Cho and what he means to me as a Korean American artist and woman. But today's show is called All About Eve. It is a South Korean K-drama starring Cherim, Kim Soyeon, Jang Dong-gun, and Han Jae-seok. Okay, this came out in the year 2000. And if you guys don't know who Kim Soyeon is, you do. She's that crazy bitch that you see in Penthouse. You know, the one that looks like a witch, the really beautiful one, the one that looks evil. She looks like the evil queen in Snow White. I think that's what Kim Soyeon looks like. And I think she's a tremendous actress. It's astounding to me how gorgeous Kim Soyeon is, even after 20 years went by and she's like in her 40s now, is she? Or is she like pushing 40? Whatever, like it doesn't even matter. Like she's gorgeous, and she's an amazing actress. And in this show, All About Eve, Kim Soyeon also played like an evil bitch. So she's typically typecasted as the evil one, but I saw her in a Korean variety show called How Do You Play with Yoo Jae-seok, and she's actually very sweet. Like she's a really sweet, kind woman, and she's known like in TV production in Korea for being like a genuinely kind person. So it's interesting and ironic how she keeps getting typecast as this bitch, but she is so good in All About Eve. Like she wreaks havoc everywhere she goes. I also, like, while I was rewatching the show a few months ago, I was sort of thinking about how like orphans like orphaned girls typically end up becoming like evil. Like this is like a trope. Like you're an orphan, you have abandonment issues, or you suffered a lot in life because you didn't have the protection from your parents, and so you just have like a totally fucked up heart. Or it's the opposite. Like you're an orphan and you are a perpetual victim and you could do no wrong. Like you're just super nice, you're always hardworking, and you've got the most straight morals ever. And so it's like these two extremes at all times whenever they're orphans. And I'm just like, what's with that? Why is it like that? And I used to think that maybe it's got to do with like Korea's history of orphans and refugees and whatever. And I think that's true. I think that contextualization, I think that matters. I think that has meaning. But for me, what I actually think is like it's for driving the narrative. It's for storytelling purposes, you know? I mean, it's a great, you know, character description to have an orphan and to determine which way she chose. Like, did she choose to go evil, or did she choose to go, like fucking square, right? And I think it's like this. So I have a few friends who are creatives, and a couple of them are like obsessed with their parents. Like, they can't stop talking about their mom or their dad or both. And they always talk about them with such awe and admiration. That's all they do. And I tell them, I'm like, you're obsessed with your parents. You need to break away from them. And they're like, haha, like they think it's a joke, but it's not. It's a real rite of passage to break free from your fucking parents. Whether it be a moment where you say, wait, I recognize their mistakes now. Fuck them. And they get angry and then they eventually get over it. Whether it's that, or if it's just like, oh, okay, I see the mistakes that they made. I need to move away from them now, or I need to get some distance from them now and find my own path, find my own voice. My own voice being the voice inside your head, the one that's always telling you what's wrong and what's right, the one that's guiding you all the time, or the one that's judging you, or, the one that's, triggering self-doubt in you, whatever it is. Get the parent out of your head. So I think that's what it's about, right? It's like, that's a real moment of crisis for an individual. It's a crisis for one's ego. And when you break free from your parents, that's when your actual life begins. The moment that you debunk your parents from your mind, right? And then you decide, I'm going to be free. I'm going to be my own person. I'm no longer my parents' child. I'm no longer my parents. I am my own self. And I think that's a critical moment. And I think that's something that all artists need to go through. So when I see my artistic friends, my creative friends being obsessed with their parents, like, I just kind of look at them like, well, I'm going to be standing here waiting for you, to cross over to the other side. Because I'm on the other side right now doing other shit. Like, I don't want to sit here listen to you being obsessed with your mom and dad right now. Which is not to say that, you need to resent them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you got to break free from them. Yeah, I actually had a weird dream the other night. And I just want to talk about it because it was actually a really special dream. So, like, I didn't really smoke weed this past week because, like, I've been coughing up a lot of phlegm. And whenever I smoke pot or eat edibles, I can't remember my dreams. And my dreams are very special to me. And I think it's a part of me processing a lot of these things. So I decided not to smoke pot this past week. And I had this crazy dream where I was with my friend Sam. My friend Sam, he lives in New York. Sam and I were at a hotel, at a very big, beautiful hotel, and we were looking out our window, and there was another hotel facing us. And this hotel was very, like, ugly. It was like pink and green and like loud. The architecture tried to mimic European classical architecture, but it was like garish and gaudy and awful. It was like ugly. It looked like Vegas European art. And I was pointing at it, telling Sam, I was like, look how ugly that building is, And he was like, what's ugly about it? And I was like, trying to be specific. I was like, well, look at the detail there, like under the window. And every detail I would point to, before I could even say the insult, like say the punchline, say the point, that point would change. Like it would morph in front of me in real time. So whatever thing I was about to say would be moot. So that judgment would no longer be applicable. It was amazing what this building was doing. And as this building was doing this, it was giving me this lesson in my mind. I was like, oh, I have no business insulting anybody's art. Who am I to insult any art? Because whoever made that, they are beautiful for making it, and they're courageous because they're emitting an expression. And that's something to applaud, not to insult. I could just be like, that's not my cup of tea, and leave it at that. I don't have to point specifically at shit and be like, look how fucked up this is. Look how stupid that is. Look how wrong that is. Like, that's not necessary. So in my mind, my subconscious was just like, Grace, you're leveling up, Why do the same old shit? You don't need to do that, Grace. You don't need to insult this building because you just don't need to. Like, insulting this building isn't gonna make your friend like you anymore. He just likes you the way you are. He's already with you. You guys are hanging out together. You don't need to bring an extra thing to the table, whether it be an insult, whether it be a compliment, whether it be a gift, whether it be a complaint. You don't need to bring any of that shit. You are enough. I am enough, right? And then my friend Sam goes, let's go upstairs. But I felt this pull. I was like, wait, but I can't go upstairs with you. My mom's waiting for me at a different venue and I need to go see her now. And he was like, it's just going to take a second. Just come upstairs with me. So I follow him upstairs, right? It was like this windy stair, like all made of wood. And it was like very, like minimal, you know? It was the opposite of that garish building. It was very minimal, very plain. In fact, it was almost dangerous. It was like weak. It was like not stable. And I was like climbing up these stairs. And upstairs, like there were these squatters, like a few squatters just hanging out. You know, they didn't seem unhappy. They were like just hanging out. They were like being real, being present, being there with one another. And there was like broken furniture, kind of sparsely spread out, and there was like plaster and foam on the floor. It was like very dirty and dusty, and I just didn't feel comfortable being there. I was like, oh, it's not clean here. The air is probably not clean up here, you know? And I saw this big yellow foam, and it was like covered in shit. It was like shit stained foam. And I looked at it and I was like embarrassed looking at it. I was like, man, that's embarrassing. I should remove that from here. And then Sam picks it up and he looks at me and goes, you don't have to worry about this. Why are you embarrassed by this? This isn't yours. This isn't your responsibility. Don't be embarrassed by this. You're okay. And I felt such gratitude, you know? And I thought it was a beautiful dream. Like, I learned a bunch of lessons from that dream, like 3 huge lessons. And I sketched it as best I could. I kind of drew it out the best I could. And then I wrote it out. And then I texted Sam yesterday. I was like, I had this dream about you. Can I share it with you? And he was like, yes, tell me about it. So I texted it to him and he was like, that is a good dream. And I'm glad I was there with you. And I thought that was like the perfect response. So, you know, honestly, the reason why I'm also like really fucking emotional this past week is because I got my period today. So like hormones do play a role. And you know what, like I hate on my period every single time it happens. Like I have jokes about periods and how much I fucking hate it, but honestly, it's like, if this is what it takes for me to get really in touch with my feelings, then that's fine. That means every month I have this opportunity to really get close to my feelings and, you know, give myself space and time to process things and grow. And if that's the case, that's fine. That means that anybody who menstruates has the gift. They have the gift. They have the gift to evolve faster. That's all that means. The person I'm going to talk to today is a hilarious individual. She has a big heart. Her name is Rachel Abrams. She's an LA comic. And I saw her a few days ago at the Hollywood Comedy, and she was cracking me the fuck up. Like, she was so funny. There was like a new joke that she had written, and I guess like she was sort of like riffing on it, like, you know, like free thinking it on stage. And she got to this one point and she didn't have a punchline for it. It was just like a really sad admission. And I was dying laughing, like sitting in the back, because I understood what was happening there. But like nobody else understood. Like I got it, you know, because like I know Rachel, like I know her comedy style, and like I recognized what was happening as a fellow comic. And when she sat down, I was just like dying laughing. And then the other thing she asked me was like, what's a BTS? And I was just like, I was like, just turn around, like I can't even talk to you right now because I'm just writing a 5-minute set about you asking me that question in this moment. And I did write a joke. It's not 5 minutes, it's like 30 seconds, but I did write a joke about her asking me who BTS is. Like, Lord have mercy. I mean, how many more times does the New York Times have to write about BTS for you to know who BTS is? They've been on the cover of Time magazine. Like, people on this earth know the names of the members of BTS better than they do who Kamala Harris is. I mean, that's the truth. That's the sad fucking truth. but I love Rachel because she's very funny and she's really intelligent, and she is in the history of K-drama school. Never has there been a guest who asked me more questions during flashcard questions than Rachel Abrams. She interrupted and asked me so many questions about the show's plot and the characters' motivations. Like, she was thorough as hell. I mean, she should have been like a microbiologist. Why is she a comedian? Like, her attention to detail is like, it's astounding. It's astounding. But like, that makes her lovable to me. That makes Rachel lovable. And I had a lot of fun talking to Rachel Abrams, and we're all very lucky to be listening to our conversation. So let's talk to Rachel Abrams.
Ooh, I like your studio.
Thank you. It's my closet.
Great.
Yeah.
You have a window in your closet? Is that a window?
No, it's a closet. It's 100% a closet. There are no windows here.
I
Yeah.
used to have like something that looks like that, like accordion thing you have. I
Uh-huh.
used to have something like that were like blackout shades.
Oh,
So
wow.
I thought, yeah.
Mm. Why
Can
did you
you
need
hear me
blackout?
okay?
Yeah, I could totally hear you great.
Cool.
Yeah. Why did you need blackout shades?
Peter and I used to live in this apartment where we were right by like the parking lights. And so he was
Oh,
like sensitive to that.
okay.
He's like, you have to sleep in the dark and like get your circadian rhythm. He's like one of those.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Your husband is a very is he like a SoCal native?
No, we're both from Marin, like just north of San Francisco.
Oh, okay, so you're California natives.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, 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 okay. Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're very like fitness oriented,
Hmm.
very goal oriented. Like
Hmm.
that's your husband. Eye on the ball,
Hmm.
that kind of guy.
Outdoorsy.
Yeah. That's good. Are you outdoorsy?
um, I feel like I've been like forced into being outdoorsy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if you do it so much, you start to believe maybe you like it, but it's like,
So he's gaslighting you into believing that you're outdoorsy?
yeah, yeah. I just say like that's how I got him to marry me, but now I like don't have to fuck with it anymore. You know?
Yeah. You could just be you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Which is,
Yeah.
are you a couch potato? What are you, homebody?
I would just rather than going camping, I'd rather go to like a cool city or something. You know?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Camping
What
is also
city?
like affordable travel.
Sure.
What city?
Yeah, what city would you like to go to?
Oh, I really want to go to New Orleans when COVID's over.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Have you
Yes.
been? I've never been.
I have not, but like I was totally thinking like, yeah, she'd want to go to like one of those places like
Oh no.
Like New Orleans or like some city in like I don't know, like how do you say? Where else? I don't know, like New Mexico somewhere, you know? I could
Oh
see
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do. I
Yeah.
do. I went to Taos, New
Yeah.
Mexico. Yeah.
I only learned about like of Taos. Like I didn't know what it was. I only like learned of it recently through like a very artsy like hippie kind of person. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that,
But
but so another hobby that Peter forced me into is skiing.
oh great.
So that was on like this past, we had like a couple days in Taos. So I was like, that's the
Nice.
one I want to go to. Like, I don't know if the
Yes.
skiing's that great, but it seems like
Yeah.
a dope spot. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I went to a Big Bear Lake like
Mm-hmm.
for the
Yeah.
weekend, and
Yeah.
there were like a lot of skiers there. Did you learn how to ski like as a child or as an adult?
No, that's why I really dragged my feet on skiing. Because I feel like if you
Um,
don't learn as a child, you don't really have that innate desire or talent.
well,
Did
the
you?
thing is, I learned as a child. I
Oh.
learned when I was like in fourth grade, but as I got older, I got scared of skiing. And I don't know why,
Oh,
like
yeah.
nothing happened, you know? Like when I was a kid, like, they give you the lessons like for 45 minutes or whatever, and you just like
Yeah.
learn the basics, and then
Yeah.
they put you on the bunny slope and they say go ahead on the bunny slope, but like
my friend and I, we're fourth graders. We're like 9 or 10 years old. We somehow ended up like on the green slopes, like the intermediate kind of slopes, and we
Yeah.
were just fucking skiing. Like we were
Yeah.
fine. It was super fast,
Yeah.
like super intense, but it was like a joy to be there.
But
But
like green is easy.
oh, is it easy?
Green
Oh,
is the
okay.
easiest one.
Oh, okay, okay. Shit. Okay, so is it green,
No, you're probably on the
blue?
intermediate one. I'm
I
just
was
teasing
I
you.
was on I was on a
I'm
slopey
sure you're
like
on a blue.
okay, maybe I was on a
I'm just being
blue.
a douche. Yeah.
It was like very it wasn't the bunny slopes. Like we saw like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
just took a turn somewhere. It was an accident. We ended up on like bigger slopes where there weren't many people and there were no
Yeah.
children. There weren't any
Yeah. Yeah.
kids. We were just there and like and we were just kind of doing it, but like as I got older, like the steeper slopes like freaked me out. Even like on the bunny slope where there's like a steep incline, like I would be freaked out. Like when I was in high school or whatever, I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I just stopped.
You're also
Stopped skiing.
like, I feel like it's a mental thing because you
Yeah.
have more like awareness of what can go wrong. Also, you're
Hmm.
taller, so it seems like a higher drop. When
It's
I go and
scarier.
there's just like little kids whizzing past me, no fear.
It's
I'm so
emasculating.
jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it is a mental thing. Cuz yeah, again, when I was a kid it was fine, but as I got older, I don't know, like you just build fears and like yeah, these kinds of defenses and I don't know what happened.
I think for me it's like to get over that it's like a one beer rule because if I have
Oh,
one beer, I feel like a little bit more like, "Oh, I can do this." But
more
more than that
adventurous.
and it's going to be detrimental to my skiing. I'm going to
Okay,
fall.
okay. So one beer, hit the slopes.
Get
Got
you out
it.
of your head a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. All right, that's a good idea. Yeah, I guess because when I was in high school, I wasn't drinking beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I could like I don't know, like smoke a little pot and then go
Yeah.
skiing.
A lot of
Yeah,
stoners out there.
yeah. But shit, okay, all right. So okay, that's great. That's great that like you adapted to him. I guess you really like the guy a lot to like really meet him where he's at with all the activities and shit.
Yeah, I really feel like I need to get my payback because I'm
Yeah.
like, what hobbies did you have to do for me? Like you can come watch a comedy show, like
Uh-huh.
that's a gift for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then
Yeah.
he's like, well, what do you want me to do? Like watch TV and go shopping? I was like, hold up. But then it's like so true that I don't have like all these hobbies.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. That is, yeah, what a burn. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a sick burn.
You
Yeah.
don't do anything? Like you don't have things like that? I mean, well, you do yoga. I mean, that's fitness, I suppose. If that would be
Yeah, I
something he
don't
would
like
like.
love yoga though. Like he's so excited about doing these
Okay.
things.
Yeah, it has to be something that he wouldn't
Goodness.
necessarily enjoy,
Yeah, so
you
I
know?
tried to make him sign up for an improv class because that felt fair.
Oh my God. What did he say to that?
Nope,
No?
no, it
Wow.
was a hard pass. He's an engineer though, so I feel like it would be good. I was like, maybe
It
you
would
guys
be.
can all go in on like a corporate
Yes.
improv seminar. It's like how improv people make money.
It is. I feel like it's required,
Yeah,
for people in the STEM fields to understand, like, to get down with the arts and humanities shit, like a
totally.
little bit, like we all fucking had to take a science class and a math
Yeah,
class. I hated
yeah,
it. I was like, this
yeah.
bullshit.
Same.
I hate everybody here. I hate doing this. And in English, like what? They just read a book. It's like the same few books like every single year. Nothing's changed. But, I don't know. Like, we still have to kind of do math. Like
Yeah,
we have to do math when we go to the grocery store, when we pay rent, when we
yeah,
count
yeah,
calories, whatever the
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
They don't they don't have to like integrate like a little bit of painting into the
That's so
week
true.
or
It's like,
improv.
y- yeah, because it's like
Mm.
I took calculus, by the way. You can play zip
Wow.
zap zop. It's not like I'm asking a lot.
Wow. Calculus, like full on calc, not like pre-calc.
No, I took calculus, but in high school, and then I never took math again.
Wow, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
I could not when it, like I was like fine up until algebra, and then
Mhm.
geometry started happening and I lost it. I was like, I
Mhm.
don't understand any of this shit. It's like,
Yeah.
what is happening? And then they were like, after, geometry is going to be like trig. I don't even,
Yeah.
to this day, I don't know what trig is. I have no idea.
Isn't
And
trig
then,
the same as pre-calc, or is it
yeah,
different?
I
Okay.
suppose. Like, all of that was just like foreign to me. It's like a foreign language. I was like, I'm never going to get this. And then, yeah, in college, I had to take a pre calculus class. And I did my very, very best. Like, I studied my ass off and I got a C. Plus.
A
I
C
never,
plus in college is not that bad though.
I never
In
got it.
college math, not
I
bad.
never understood. And there I was thinking, I can, I can figure it out. And I could take, what's that? Like, I could take a physics class, because I was a philosophy
Mhm.
minor and I was like, I should take physics because it's very philosophical. And the professor was like, you're an English major and you're here? And I was like, yeah, I could do this. And he's like, okay. And he starts writing stuff on the board and he starts talking. And I was like, I do not belong here. Like, I left like less than
You
five
dropped
minutes.
it.
Of
Yeah.
course. I had no
Yeah.
business being there. I got a C plus
Yeah.
in pre calculus. Come on. Come on. Oh, that's interesting, though. Okay. What did you study in college?
I studied film.
Oh, nice. Like film
Yeah.
production or critical studies?
It was kind of like whatever you wanted. So it was just like production and theory, and
Oh,
kind
sweet.
of put it together how you want. And then I
Oh, wow.
minored in marketing. Picked
Why
some
did you?
easy stuff to study.
Ah, okay,
No, I
okay.
liked the mark. It was like integrated marketing communications, and I was like, I should do something in addition to
Uh-huh.
film. And they're pretty cool because the classes
Yeah.
were like we took like consumer insight, so it's like kind of the psychology of consumers. That was
Hmm.
kind of interesting, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's an interesting combination.
You were English and
Philosophy.
philosophy.
Hmm.
Yeah. Did you go to school in
Yeah.
California?
No. I'm in school in California now at UCLA, but
Oh, right.
yeah.
I felt like I heard like I
Yeah.
knew UCLA. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I went to Hunter College in New York
Oh,
for
cool.
a little over a year, and then I couldn't do the public school setting thing, so I transferred to Pace University, um, and that was a good move, a good decision on me because like the professors were very supportive, and I was like a mess in college. I don't know about you, but I was like I was a shit show. I was a walking shit show.
What kind of shit show?
Like I drank so much.
Oh.
I know people are like, "Oh yeah, college kids they binge drink," but like privileged kids would binge drink. Like if they're like living in a dorm and they don't have bills to pay, then okay. Like and they don't have a job, their only job is to just study and be a student. Fine. But I was like working,
Yeah.
like multiple days out of the week and
Yeah.
I was just shit faced like all the time. But when it came to my studies, I was like so on top of it. Like I needed like some kind of control, and it was that. Like minus the calculus. I mean that I sucked
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
But like everything else, like it was like, I passed with flying colors and like
Well, that's
like,
good
oh,
then.
wow.
It's like you
Yeah.
had fun and
Yeah.
did
Well,
well.
I mean, I don't know if that's fun. Those were
Yeah.
dark days. I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
of college as like a bright, happy, fun time. It was dark. I don't know. How do
I
you
kind of
look back
feel
on
like,
it?
yeah, I agree. I feel like college has this, like, you think it's supposed to be super amazing and that's all anyone tells you. But
Mhm.
I was ready. I graduated a quarter early. Like, I was
Oh,
ready to
wow.
be done with college.
Mhm.
And I made a lot of my good friends are from college, but I don't have any desire to go back. It's not
Yeah.
like what I think of as my fondest time.
Sure.
And I
Yeah.
went to a good college, and it was
Where'd you
fun.
go?
It was cold. I went to Northwestern,
It's an excellent
outside
school.
Chicago.
Yeah. Actually, one of my faculty mentors is a Northwestern alum. Do you know John Caldwell? You heard
No.
of him?
Mm-mm.
No. If you studied film theory, you wouldn't know. Well, he's more television studies, but
Oh,
he's
that's
a
cool.
professor at my school at UCLA currently, and yeah, he's a proud Northwestern alum.
For undergrad.
I think he went to Northwestern for his PhD actually.
then
Um,
I could have like taken a class from him.
it's possible. Actually, no. He's been at UCLA for a long time, so yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
And Cal State and shit like that. But yeah, he's cool. He's like a documentary filmmaker and a really brilliant scholar. So he like kind of straddles both worlds. I don't know if like you've encountered this, but like I don't know, like since you studied both theory and production, like I feel like because I also do production as well. I worked in production, I worked in distribution and stuff, but
Oh, yeah.
like I made a short film, like a short documentary film, and you know, I'm getting feedback from like colleagues and stuff, and the people who are filmmakers offer very drastically different feedback and notes from like film scholars, let's say. Like I feel like the film scholars, like they're just so much more they're almost too open-minded. You know, it's like
Yeah.
anything and everything is like, oh yeah, that I could see why that's there. Like
Yeah.
mentally,
Yeah.
they're okay. Whereas the filmmakers are like, this doesn't make any sense for you to do this. You know, like there's so many rules in their minds. You know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, possibilities. Like this is a potentially different possibility, or is it just maybe opinions, then, or
Do you think it's
taste?
Do you think it's like more of a commercial lens versus a more like scholarly or artistic lens, or is that not part of it?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that could be it. I think that has something to do with it. I think it's more about like, yeah, maybe commercial is correct. I think it's more about like getting the audience to understand, like they're like
Yeah.
filmmakers are a little bit more attentive to the audience's needs,
Yeah.
whereas the
Yeah.
scholars are like, you know, they've seen such weird movies that they're like
Totally.
open to anything and everything. They're like, yeah, that's fine. That works still in my mind. You know, maybe that's
Yeah.
it. Mm.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay. Yeah.
I did that reminds me, I did a quarter in London and I took like film classes there that were like
Yeah.
the scholarly type.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, they hated Hollywood so much. Like I took this world cinema class and I was already a little embarrassed to be American in London, but then they were just really just like Hollywood was like you kind of like whisper it with like a frown, you know? It's not.
Oh,
And I was like, oh yeah,
wow.
no, next quarter I'm gonna go intern in LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
How
that
do
was
they
like
take
super
that?
interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't share that.
Oh, God. You should have. You know, I would have been like in their face about it. Be like, that's
Yeah.
right. I'm going to go to LA, to Hollywood, to
Some of us wanna
intern.
make money.
Yeah. To intern at an unpaid job. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm
At a
going to
production
do it.
company you've never heard of.
They're going to make shit
Are
films.
you
That's
impressed?
right. I'm going to
Yeah.
do it. Yeah. Just get up all in their face about it. You know, like, I get that. I understand. I could see from both angles, though. Like, I could
Yeah.
see the draw to Hollywood. Because, I mean, I feel like Londoners would just hate on Hollywood, like, as Europeans, you know? Like, hating on
Yeah.
Hollywood as a European is, like, the
Yeah.
thing to do, right?
Also because a lot of the students in class were just from other European countries because
Yeah.
I think if you're EU, you can study all over.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Europe,
yeah.
in many ways, they are better than us. You know, I don't blame them.
Totally better than
100%.
us.
They are fucking better. They all speak more than like 2 languages. You know, they
Yeah.
traveled the world like since they were fucking toddlers. Like they are better in
They
a
came
lot of
right
ways.
into our college.
Yes.
And then they like, what was I gonna say? I don't even remember.
They take a break.
They take
before
a break
college.
before college. They use the metric system. That's what I was gonna say.
Metric system,
They
yes.
use public transportation.
Celsius, all of that. You know,
Yeah.
military time. They learn stick shift. You know, like they.
Yeah.
they
Stick
are-
shift. I
they're-
actually know how to drive stick shift. Do you?
Really?
Yeah.
You're so lucky. Is it because you had a family car that was a stick shift?
Peter's old car. Peter had 2 old cars that were stick shift. So if I wanted
So
to use
Peter
his
taught
car-
you. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad did have a stick shift car, but like I wasn't allowed to drive it. He had like a
See,
Mustang.
This is the
But-
fucked up thing. Like, I feel like as daughters, you know, we get the shorter end of the stick sometimes because, like, since we're girls, they just assume that we wouldn't be suited to learn how to drive a stick shift or learn how to drive a van. You know, like
Yeah.
I remember this was like a year after college. I was hustling in New York, like working internships and production jobs, whatever.
Yeah.
I was offered a production job for a commercial and it was going to be paid really well. And they were like, all you have to do is like, you have to know how to drive a van. My parents have a van. I could have learned. And I was like, okay, just give me the weekend. I'll figure it out and I'll come back.
Yeah.
And I go to my parents and I was like, can you teach me how to drive this van? And my fucking mother says to me, women shouldn't drive vans. I'm like, you're a lady. You know how to drive a fucking van. Like,
Gosh.
you had to learn how to drive a van.
Heck.
Like, why wouldn't you fucking pass this knowledge on to your daughter who can go and make some money from Samsung? Like, that's
Yeah.
fucked up,
Samsung. Wait, I'm being so naive, but if someone asked me if I knew how to drive a van, I would just be like, yeah, it's like a car. But it's a whole different thing.
It's just like a car, yes, but it's longer, you're higher up. So since like the back is so much longer, you have to like know how to like time and angle, it's
Oh.
slightly different. I mean, I should have done I should have just winged it like you, be like,
Well, I don't know. I've been in a few fender benders.
okay, yeah, maybe not then. Yeah. Yeah, and like teaching your daughter how to drive stick shift, like she would be able to travel the world and rent cars anywhere on the planet, like
It's true.
like our generation of kids, like with the automatic vehicles, like we just like lost out, we just really like we got fucked actually, like
Although I feel like I didn't have a desire to learn stick shift. It seemed
really you
like
didn't it didn't seem cool to you. It looks so fucking cool to me. That was like the biggest draw. It looked as
it's
cool as
really
smoking.
it can be really hard because after I learned on Peter's car, I tried it on my dad's car and it was like different and I couldn't do it. But also you like not new ones apparently, but old ones you roll back if you're on a hill and it's so scary.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually a legit fear of mine. I mean, you lived in Northern California, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Was it hilly where you were? I know San Francisco's very hilly.
Yeah, it was hilly. I lived on a hill.
Yeah, that's freaky as hell. Like,
Yeah.
even when I'm at a red light on a hill and there's a car behind me, I'm like
Oh yeah, no,
sweating
we're close.
bullets. Yeah, I'm like, please back the fuck up. I will hit you, like backwards, and you're gonna be at fault, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally understand. That sounds terrifying, but no, I was in Mexico. I was renting a car, and like it's Mexico. Everybody's very slow and lax, and it's like it's okay. Like there's no rush. But like I grew up in New York. I'm all about like efficiency. Like
Yeah.
why is this taking an hour and a half to just rent one vehicle? And then the guy pulls the car up, and I get in, and it's all stick shift. And I look at him, I'm like, bro, I don't know how to drive this. And he's like, okay, so we have to go back in there's another 45 minutes
No.
to get an automatic. And it was more expensive, man. So, yeah,
They have it just for the Americans.
I think he did it just to fuck with me. Yeah. Yeah, he did it
Yeah.
on purpose. Like, this American bitch, let me waste her time a little bit
Yeah.
today. Yeah, I get it. So, did you, like, make any films?
Yeah, I did. I feel like I kind of just like straddled the production a little bit, but didn't really do a great job. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But so what did I make? It's like you do the intro production class, everyone makes little films
Yeah.
in groups, and then I did some more like producing stuff later on.
Yeah.
Or just little films for classes, but I didn't do like a senior thesis or anything like that.
I could see you being a good producer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I just didn't like. I feel like all the like technical little like nitty gritty. How do I get this camera to like? Which I guess isn't the producer's job, but I remember
Yeah.
in the classes like, how do I get this camera to do what I want?
Yeah, the stick
Um,
shift part of the filmmaking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You were not
That's
into
good. I
that.
should make a bumper sticker. Sell it to film students.
Yeah, you could tell like which kids are going to end up being the stick shift kids or which kids are going to be like, the talky kids, logistics and
Yeah.
which kids are going to be like the directors or the writers, you could kind of see, right?
Well, that's why I went into development after college, which I feel like is probably like the most half-assy way to go into film, because it's like,
Hmm.
I'm not going to do production, but I'm not going to write, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to straddle the middle and just kind of tell everyone
Mm-hmm.
kind of what to do,
Mm-hmm.
but not fully get any real, tangible, like, making anything.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like development was a very middleman area, which is why I
Mm-hmm.
didn't end up liking it.
Mm.
But I think it like drew me because I was like, I don't really know
Hmm.
where I fit in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, development is a very important stage, but it is the most like influx stage.
Yeah.
And right?
Yeah.
Like it's like the money part, it's like the getting the team together part, it's the
Yeah.
telling the screenwriter to change everything part, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that
Totally.
that part, that aspect does seem vicious. Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting because some people are like so good at it, but it's not necessarily something that a lot of people learn specifically. I would say.
Mhm.
I don't know if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
It does.
But yeah.
UCLA's MFA program in the film school does offer development classes. And I took one because those were the least popular classes. And yeah, it was essentially that. Like, our professor was this guy who works at New Line,
Uh-huh.
or he worked at New Line when it was still,
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
A company I very much respect, like I love their films, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, your job as a producer in development is to essentially give notes to the screenwriter and like make suggestions, recommendations on what to change. And if you don't say anything, then you're doing it wrong. And I was like, oh, sounds awful, It means that you can't accept anything for what it is. You have to change it. And I was like,
Yeah.
what if you have nothing to change? What if you're like a film scholar and you're like, this is a perfect screenplay. I see, I understand, go with it. What if that's the case, But he's like, nope, that's never going to be the case. You have to offer some kind of change. And I was like, okay.
That doesn't really make sense to me, especially because I feel like it is the case that most development people would have something they would want to change, but at least where I worked, I felt like at least they prided themselves on like cultivating writers' voices. So it was more like they're respecting their vision. That's like to me the best way for development to work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm putting it like maybe too but it was like that. He was like, it sounded more about like performance. It sounded very performative. He was like, if you're at a meeting and you're quiet, meaning you're not contributing and not saying what should be changed, then you're gonna stand out, but in the bad way. And I was like, fuck, so this is all just about performance. Like, just say something even though you have nothing to really say, right? Like, that's encouraged.
I would almost argue that that's not good. Because if you're saying something just to say something, then you're diluting your voice and people aren't going to want to listen to you when you have something you want to say. And people are going to just you're going to give development people a bad name as giving like fake notes.
I agree. And I think that did give development producers a bad name, I mean, that's like every screenwriter's nightmare. They're always like bitching about producers who gave them horrible notes, and they talk about it. But, it's like that kind of culture is encouraged in the development meeting rooms to an extent. Or maybe it was just at that particular company that he was at. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's office cultures everywhere. So you left development?
What?
So you left development and you never went back?
Yeah, I mean, like, as I said, I was just an assistant, so I didn't even, I wasn't even in those meetings. But
you had no desire to, like, be upwardly mobile and become one of those development producers?
I feel like it was pretty all-consuming, and I just realized I wanted to do something more creative. Because I originally started college as like a theater major, so I was super creative. And then when I like
Okay.
switched into film, I just got less and less, and I missed that.
Uh-huh.
So at a certain point, I just like saved my money and then quit.
Yeah.
But which is an interesting choice in retrospect. But
Yeah. Okay.
to just kind of like work on creative things, and like thought I wanted to write. I'm not great at like sitting there for hours writing, and that's when
I'm noticing a pattern here. Like your philosophy in life is like take the easy way always. Like always take the easy way 100% of the time, you know? Like that's sort of what
no, I
I'm
took
noting.
calculus, remember?
You did take calculus. That was like the one anomaly in terms of like
Yeah, no, I
the
took
pattern.
calculus, so
But
I'm gonna ride
yeah.
that
It's like,
girl.
yeah, I did like film development because that's like it's like the most chill one, like you know, right?
I think I thought that film development was the best of both worlds,
Mhm.
and I just found it to be passive, so
Mhm.
that I felt like I wasn't doing anything. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
No, I
doesn't.
get that. I think I get that. I mean, I don't know. I think working from the bottom up in any kind of aspect of this industry is yeah, it's an unhappy time. Like you're just going to be unhappy, I think. Like yeah, it's just how it is. Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Oh, okay. Was it frozen for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About that.
It's okay. It's not your fault. But okay. So now you're just Mrs. Peter and a stand-up comic and working at the Hollywood Improv, right?
Yeah, I was working at the Hollywood Improv, which I really liked. And I do like freelance script notes, like for the Blacklist. So
Oh,
that's kind
okay.
of like development-y.
That is. That's great. Okay, so you do work in the industry still, film industry, I
Yeah,
mean.
kind of.
That's cool.
But yeah, I hope soon I can go back to the improv.
Yeah. I noticed that on Saturday they were like doing something on the patio.
Yeah,
Um,
they're open for drinks, and then I think they're doing like some kind of open micy thing out there.
mhm.
But I haven't been yet.
You haven't been going to the Improv Tuesday open mics. I
Have you
noticed.
been going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep meaning to. I should.
It's
Do you
been
like it?
like a year, dude.
I
I was
just,
surprised
I
because you
just,
were an employee there. I was like, oh, I thought Rachel would be here.
I have been before.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And instead, I see you at like Hawaii's open mic on Zoom.
No, it's like I don't want to like. I just feel like on that one, I was on Zoom for so long. The
hmm
improv one.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
It's a bit long.
Yeah.
Especially when
But
Jimmy Calloway hosts it. It becomes like 3-4 hours, and it's like, whoa.
oh, geez. And then you're like, can I leave? I don't know if I'm allowed. But dude, the Hawaiian mic, that was just me setting my roots for my Hawaiian comedy tour.
I was like, thank God Rachel's here, because it was such a nightmare. Like it was, yeah, my worst nightmare. Like, because
Okay, but
I'm efficient. Like I like it to just do the mic, leave.
oh yeah, when people
You know?
chat,
When they
I
talk
feel
about this, I'm like, for the love of God, spare me. Because even when it comes to my closest friends, when I'm not in the mood and they want to talk me up about their whatevers, I'm like, I start to, like check out, or I start to get irritated. But these are like complete strangers, and they're talking about their divorce and la la la, and I was like,
yeah.
couldn't
I will
take it.
say something that was really heartwarming was how earnest they were. You know,
Yes.
like they hadn't gotten jaded. Like you and I are just chatting about like I don't even know, like something dark. Like they're just talking about how comedy brings their life meaning, you know.
Oh, they were saying things. I wasn't even listening. I was like so
I
checked
feel
out.
like they probably were. Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
were like good people. I'm not.
Yeah.
This wasn't like.
What if they're huge fans of your podcast and they're listening
Oh
to it?
yeah. Well, if that's the case, then no, still fuck you. Like that was a big fucking waste of my time. Like it could have been 30 minutes and it carried on for like over an hour and I was like, no, it's not okay. Especially when there were like four women. Come on. There's like four people. We could have been like it could
I
have been
know,
20
you know when you
minutes.
log on and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, there's only four people, thank God.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
why am I still here an hour and a half later?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was funny like later when you like we were on another thing and you mentioned Hawaii and I was just dying laughing because I had completely forgotten about that
You
quote
did?
unquote Hawaii trip. I had erased it from my memory because
Oh
it was
my
so
God.
awful. And then I was just hysterically laughing because you would think like Hawaii is like such a great place, you know? And that was
Yeah.
literally the worst Hawaii trip ever, like
So what you're saying
via
is I
Zoom.
shouldn't. Oh, so what you're saying is I shouldn't base my Hawaii tour around that comedy scene.
Oh no, that's not what I'm saying at all. Oh wait, I meant Hawaii like
I'm
as
just
a
teasing.
place, as like a.
I know, I'm just teasing.
Oh, okay, I didn't get that.
Okay,
So
yeah.
maybe
Let's
rewrite
let's
that one.
take that
I
back to the
or
notebook.
I need to rewrite my brain or something. Yeah, I'm a little brain fried right now. Um,
Who isn't? That's also why I can't like my tolerance for Zoom open mics is very low right now.
yes, I understand that. Yeah.
Have you been doing a lot?
No, the only consistent one I was doing was the Hollywood Improv one, but I didn't go in the last 3 weeks because I had other things to do.
Yeah.
And I was just a bit disoriented overall. But
Now
yeah,
I feel like a shitbag. Okay, I need to
I've
go
been
to
doing
that.
that pretty consistent. I would do their Friday Write Club things too. I had my own Write Club thing going, but you know, those things can only go on for so long. I think those things should,
Yeah.
yeah, they disintegrate over time. Um,
Yeah, yeah. The Friday Right Club is fun.
it is fun. I got some helpful notes from those things. I wrote a lot during quarantine actually. Did you
That's
like
good.
were you able to write?
Like on and off. I feel like it's a little frustrating because like I'll write a bunch of stuff but then I'll want to work on it and I
Uh-huh.
feel like it is still helpful obviously to do Zoom mics and Zoom shows, but it's definitely harder to use the feedback. So I feel like I'm
Huh.
writing stuff but it's not necessarily evolving in the way I want it to.
I understand. I think I
How about
understand
you?
what you mean. Having those like writing meetings, um, I was in like three groups, you know, and
Oh, it's a lot.
yeah, it was a lot. That's why I'm not in any anymore. But uh, it was helpful in the sense that like you get feedback regularly, and you know we were meeting daily, if not every week, so regularly. And like during the course of the week when we're not meeting, I would be rewriting or making adjustments, you know.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it was helpful, you know, and that kind of gets you in a rhythm and kind of gets you in this mindset, and you know,
Yeah.
I think all those things helped. But I agree with you that not all of that will translate onto the stage and into
Yeah.
laughs. Yeah,
I had
especially in a live setting. Yeah.
right. I had when we were doing the outdoor mic
Mhm.
that you came to
That
at
was
Nina's,
fun.
it was
Yeah.
yeah, that was like so helpful. Even though it was only obviously a handful of people, it was just like so helpful to do
Yes,
it in person
it was.
again and just like try to grow that muscle back.
Yeah.
So we stopped doing that in November when the numbers got really bad again. But I hope as things improve, we can do that again because that also just had the consistency that, say, a writer's meeting gives you because I just knew twice a week I would have to have material. And I feel
Mm.
like just having that fire and then getting back into that routine. Because, like,
Mhm.
think about our lives before this. Like, we were
It's
always doing comedy.
like every night, every
Yeah.
night, every night, like after work or after 4 p.m., like my schedule would be, I had to finish everything before 4 because after 4, I had places to be, things to do, places to
Yeah.
go. And that was our fucking lives. And then like when everything stopped, I was just like, it was like a shock to the system and to the
Yeah.
mind and to everything. Yeah. To the spirit. Yeah. It was
Do you
awful.
feel like, how do you feel looking at going back to that again?
Like there is a part of me that feels a little bit lazy about it, and
Hmm.
that's the unfortunate thing, right? Because it's like wheels need to be constantly greased and turning, otherwise they will rust and
Hmm.
get clunky or just not work. And that's the so-called grind that we comics are talking about. It's not so much the writing and the performance. Like that's a given. But it's really the
Hmm.
getting in your car, getting mentally
Yeah.
prepared,
Yeah.
driving over to the thing, dealing with people like, that kind of piss you off, or dealing with, it's like that
And
the
like sitting through
motion,
everyone else.
sitting, yeah, waiting,
Yeah.
that is the grind that we're talking about. And
Yeah.
we haven't done it in a year. And it's
Yeah.
like the
That's wild.
the thought of getting back into that, it is frightening, it is intimidating, and it does make me go like fuck. But on the other hand, it's like I know that that is what I want to get back to. It's kind of like not working out for a year and then having to work out again, right?
Yeah. It's exactly like that.
100%.
Yeah. I feel that same kind of like laziness, and then I think the rustiness fuels the laziness.
It does,
So it's that kind of like perpetuating
because some
cycle.
of it is the fear and the insecurity, right?
Right,
It's
because it's
like,
like I know, same if you're not working out for a year. You're like, I
yeah,
know I'm going to start again,
yeah,
not nearly as fast or strong as where I was
yeah,
before.
exactly.
Yeah.
um but I did take like a brief trip to New York in October,
Oh, that's awesome.
and that was fun. I think I did like 2 or 3 shows. That was great. That felt great. Yeah.
Wow, that must have been insane.
It was
Do
insane.
they just have like more stuff going on there than here?
At the time, yeah. Like New York's
Yeah.
numbers were down in the summer
Hmm.
and fall, whereas LA was just consistently going up. We're
Yeah.
pigs. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just nice like being in a city where I could just be outside and walk around and sit outside, and it was just nice.
Yeah.
And then they had
Yeah.
these like rooftop mics and backyard mics, and park shows and stuff, so like it was fun doing that. But yeah, like when the first time I went up on stage and I took the mic, my mind was blank. Like I'd forgotten everything. Like,
Yeah.
I had rehearsed all day, but like I'd forgotten everything. So like in between, I would have to like chit chat and wait for it to come back, and it eventually did. So
Yeah.
that was a good lesson in the sense that I was like, oh, like it is in me. I know it. It's just like I need a little bit of stimuli here and there until it comes back.
Yeah.
So the lesson there was like, oh, like I could trust myself and I'll be fine. That was good. But I did
Yeah.
notice that like I had forgotten everything at certain points, like completely forgotten it. Things that I'd done for years. I was like, I forgot them.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that too because it's almost like you're atrophying in a way
Yeah.
where, like, I don't have like the jokes that, or even just like the thought process that I know that I normally have on stage. I
Mhm.
assume that I've had it, but since I haven't been using it, it's been
Mhm.
atrophying.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing like a Zoom show or something and I prepare with the same amount of time that I would have prepared before, like before I could like throw something together
Yeah.
and I like think I can do that, and then it's
Mhm.
like, oh, holy shit, no, I can't,
Mhm.
because I need to actually go through each step because I don't
Yeah.
have that like right like in my head.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. That part of the brain is a muscle too. You're right. Like getting into that mindset, the ability to
Mhm.
go into the little Rolodex in your mind and pull that stuff out.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
ability to read the room and then understand, okay, these aren't working. Let me dip into a different category or a different bin
Right.
of jokes right now.
Right.
That is in and of itself a muscle. The understanding and the reading and all of that. Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
like all shut down. Yeah. But it was a grand old time. Like the reward of live laughter, even if it was like 4 people, it was bliss. Like I was blissed out, man. Like the Zoom stuff does not There were some Zoom shows where there were literally like 50, 60 people, you know? And then what, like two, three people have their mics on and they laugh, or people write
Yeah.
LOL. I was like, that doesn't cut it. It's like a
And the sound
pointless.
doesn't really work. So you're not getting all.
Yes.
You're not getting the right sound. Yeah.
Timing
That
is all
sounds
off.
amazing. It is like
Yeah.
a drug.
100%. 100%. Like, there's no denying that it is, right? So many comics were addicts of other substances,
Totally.
and so many comics are sober, quote unquote, right? But they will admit that, getting laughs is the drug. That is the high that gets them through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many comics fell off the wagon during the pandemic, right? Actually, now that's starting to
Yeah, that's
worry me.
that's probably a big thing.
Were you drinking a lot during this quarantine?
I definitely feel like I drink more during quarantine than I do normally, but I'm also not really like going out, Not that I like what was I doing before? I wasn't going out before. Like I wasn't going clubbing. Like, back before when I was like super cool and I was out until 2 a.m. No. But yeah, I definitely feel like
Yeah.
there's like times where I'm like, okay, like you don't need to like drink just to drink or something.
Yeah, I think
What about
that's
you?
good. You have that mindfulness. Well, I was getting smashed, like once things shut down, I was like,
Yeah.
I went through this terrible grieving mourning period. Did you go through that kind of grieving period when everything was flipped over and everything stopped?
Maybe, but I think for me it was worse after the initial part. Like I feel like the beginning I was like, okay, this is just for a little bit, we're just like cozying up, and then I more hit a wall. But you're saying like right at the beginning you were feeling it.
Well, I mean, it depends on our definition of beginning, right? Because it was
Yeah.
beginning technically in the winter, like January, February. It was happening, and I kept denying it. I was like, it's not going to last. I had a tour in April. I had a tour planned out in April that I've been
Uh,
planning since the fall.
yeah.
And on top of that, I had an academic conference, and I was just like, it's going to die down in 3 weeks. By 3 weeks, it'll be gone. I was in firm denial. And then conference got canceled. All the venues were like, yeah, we're shutting down. So everything got canceled, and I was just like, I was like forced to accept it. So I was crying a lot. I was like watching Korean dramas and like hysterically crying, just bawling my fucking eyes out. And then I was like, okay, fine. Like this is just an opportunity for me to like just sit at home and like get fat and like get wasted. And so I was like, yeah, I was drinking a lot, you know. But then you also hit a wall there too. Like I started feeling pathetic. I was like, I am shit faced right now and I'm by myself in my, what am I doing? I felt like an
Yeah.
ass. I was like,
Yeah.
stop it, Grace.
Yeah.
So I stopped drinking, but I still enjoy the occasional chiba.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that's also a slippery slope, I think. So I'm trying to be more aware of it. But yeah, I kind of
It's
stopped
hard 'cause
drinking.
you're like, I need something.
We all need something.
Yeah.
We all need something. Yeah.
And I think it
We
also
do.
breaks up the day. Like, think about it. Normally at night you would be, like we said, going to do comedy. But now
Mhm.
it's like what delineates the evening? What's my like reward at the end of the day? How am I going to unwind?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, what is your reward for the day nowadays, right now?
I mean, I'm still a fan of a glass of wine or something.
Nice.
Dude, I watch probably like too much TV nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
we all
obviously
do.
too much. Yeah. But like
Yeah.
sometimes TV is just like also another way to like turn off your brain by like engaging it, obviously.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
right now I'm watching Billions. I'm almost caught up. Have you watched that?
Okay, that's cool. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that is. But-
It's just like a TV show about like finance people. That's
Okay.
good.
So it helps. It keeps your mind stimulated.
You know, it just like it's interesting, but it's not like crazy.
Okay. kind of learning something.
Yeah. For a while, I was like into whatever like weird, like I bought an embroidery kit and did like some of
Yes.
it, but then I got my dog, so that was better.
Oh, right, you got a
that's what I
pup.
do. Yeah, that's my thing at the end of the day. I mean, it's my thing all day. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with my dog. She's the best.
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
Okay, my like one of my number one favorite things to do.
Why
right
did
now
you
is
wait
go to
so long?
to get a dog?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was because I was like never home, so I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be interesting afterwards, but I'll do anything for her.
It will
my pride
be.
and joy.
Yeah.
And like going to the dog park is honestly
Yes.
so fun because it's like
Yeah.
my friend who also just got a dog was like, this makes me scared that I can't have kids because I get so happy when she was saying she gets so happy when she like sees her dog like playing with someone and like
Yeah.
learning things, and she's like, I can't even
Yeah.
imagine with a child, but just like going to the
Ugh,
dog park is
yeah.
just happiness because all these dogs like running around and like playing, and
Yeah.
so I love that.
They're all happy. Of course you're going to be happy looking at
Yeah.
that. Like, who wouldn't
Yeah,
smile at a park full of dogs just being joyful? Shit. Sounds beautiful.
Had I known, I probably would have been like that creepy person at a dog park without a dog before I had one.
Yeah, like a dog pedophile.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, they should come up with a word for that, like a dog pedophile. Like, what's the Latin word for dog? Canine. Is canine dog? No. Is
I
that?
don't think that's
No,
Latin,
is
but
canine?
canine file.
Well,
Canine
canine file. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it needs to be like inappropriate.
But that
Like,
just sounds like you're really into them. It doesn't sound like you're creepy.
yeah, you just sound like a dog lover. Yeah, canine lover.
Yeah,
No,
like a
it needs
cinephile.
to be. Yeah, it needs to be a little bit inappropriate. Like
Yeah,
pedophile
like
is
a
inappropriate because it's like a
bitchophile or
child
something?
lover. Bitchophile,
Yeah.
okay.
I just
Hound
love that
gazer.
bitch actually means female dog. I love to just
Yeah,
say
it's
that.
funny you mentioned that. I was thinking because I was going for a walk and I was thinking back to like a friend of mine, a childhood friend. She was dating a loser guy, and she had a really cute dog named Cookie, and Cookie's a girl dog, and she told me that Cookie was humping her boyfriend, and I thought in my head I should have said, "That's all he's worth." You know, a bitch humping his leg. Like, she never had sex with him, you know. It's like he's not even worth like sex with you. Like, he's just worth your pet dog humping his fucking foot. That's it. He really was, though. He was the worst. He would
Is he gone now?
tell her, oh yeah, he's like totally out of the picture. She's married to a great guy,
Oh.
has twin boys, you know. She's great. This was like years ago, like high school, you know.
Oh.
Like when they were dating, yeah, she was like the worst. Like, she said she wanted to break up with him like a month in, but this bitch stayed with him for like over a year, like almost 2 years, and he gave her so many promise rings that she had to wear them as a necklace around her neck. And I said to her, those are chains
Oh my
keeping you
God.
choked up. And when she finally dumped him, I was like, yo, like, I suddenly have so much respect for you. I thought you were never going to get out of those woods. And she was like, I honestly wanted to leave him a month into the relationship. I was like, and you let yourself suffer through for over a year. And so that is why I would have said something like, that's all you're worth, a dog humping your fucking foot. You're never going to get to hump my friend.
No.
She's never going to give it up.
When you said she
Not to
she was
him.
with him for a month and then she was with him for a year, it reminded me of my first therapist. I just feel like that stuff you're just like,
What?
I'm here now.
Oh, okay, so you have similar
It must be
issues.
me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Oh my God, that's so interesting that I was thinking about this particular person because you said the word bitch, and then this story triggered you, the therapist situation, because it's actually similar to the Hawaii situation where I
was
left.
about to
Like,
say that because you were out of there and I was like, shit, I
was
can't
like,
leave.
I packed it up and I bounced, and then you were like, I'm still here. I was like, it's been 35 minutes. Why are you still there? You're like, I can't leave. I was like, you have every right to leave. It's your choice. Your body, your mind, your rules. You can leave. Get out of there.
Contrary to what I may have led you to believe in taking the easy road, I am committed to the Hawaii Comedy Tour, and I will put in the work to make those connections happen.
Yeah, no.
No.
Take me with you. If you do a Hawaii comedy tour, I would be like so jealous. I'd be like, yeah, I wish I was there. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there are benefits to both, right? Like being really like so down to a fault, quote unquote, a fault, um, enables you to be more sociable, more friendly, more amicable, more approachable, blah blah blah. That's why I say you would be a good producer because that's what a producer is supposed to do. It's literally to like calm everybody down and be supportive and stroke people's egos. But like I'm a little bit of a straight shooter, and you know, whereas like I can be more efficient, right? The downside is like half the people hate me. You know, they fucking hate me, or are terrified of me. You know, so there are benefits to both. I think. I respect both.
But I think there's like also a middle ground where you have a nice and efficient. Not that you didn't, but I think if I had just had like a way to get out of it without offending them, I would have taken it much sooner. Which isn't to say that you offended them, but
yeah, I know I didn't.
Like, what?
I know I didn't.
But like,
because it was over, right? It was technically over, but they were all chatty. They wanted to chat.
There was no pause for me to insert like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. So great meeting you guys. So I didn't want to do like the Irish exit, but I have the same thing where it's like I was realizing this in a social situation recently. When I'm ready to go, like I'm ready to go, and all I can think about is that I'm ready to go, and people aren't letting me go. You know what I mean? Like if and
people aren't letting you go. Oh.
But sometimes it's like people don't care. Like if I'm at, you know, an event, I'll just like bounce when I'm done. You know what I mean? Like
right. There are a lot of people. They won't notice.
Right. But that's kind of like in that situation where you're like I'm in the open mic. I'm like, all I can think about is how badly I want to get out, even though it's like not that bad. Right.
Interesting. Even when it's not that bad, you still want to get the hell out.
Yeah. But I guess we've already established it kind of was that bad. So
that mic was a little bit bad. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad as in like, oh, they all sucked. And like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking more like they were a little too chatty for my taste at that particular time. Like I didn't have the capacity to deal with their emotional and social problems, which they kept throwing out there. And I'm like, you know, I have my sense of boundaries now, and I'm not really willing because I'm very. And I only learned of this thing about myself recently, you know. I'm a high empath. Like I'm very like, you know, I'm an empath, and like I thought I wasn't, but the reason why I will shut down and like leave or ignore or do whatever is to protect myself, because I absorb that energy so quickly and so intensely that I need to protect myself and my sanity, you know? Yeah. So when I saw these women, like I could already tell. I was like, oh, these are these types. Like, you know, it's happening. I like a part of me shut down completely, and I was looking for other distractions, which is why I was like messaging you, and I was like, you know, on the phone, and I was doing other shit, you know? And then once they were like, okay, the mic's over, but we're going to talk. And I was like, all right, bye. I just like left. You know, I think I waved my hand and I just like clicked exit. Which is, you know, that could come off rude. And in the long run, they'll remember your face more and this and that. So yeah, that is an investment. But I mean, you were going to say something about college. You were like in college, something, blah, 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 about wanting to leave. And what was that?
Oh, no. Just like in college, I would like go to a party on the other side of campus, and like you weren't supposed to walk home by yourself. But I was like just like, you know,
Mm.
done in college, and then I was just like, bye, and then I would just like walk back
Yeah.
to my dorm or whatever.
Yeah, you'd rather risk your life on the streets than be in that
Right.
party
I
for
was just
another minute.
stupid.
Yeah. I don't think
Um,
that's stupid. I get it.
but yeah, no, I agree. Sometimes you're just like, I don't have the. I feel for your what you're going through right now, but I don't like have the capacity to engage with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of us get a pass in that regard right now.
Yeah.
You know, like I heard it somewhere on a podcast. They were like, people have the pass to not be a good friend right now. You know, like they have a get out of jail card for that right now. And I was like, I agree. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, because like we were always just like not normal, like, you know, just in general. But like COVID made that so much more enhanced right now. You know, like all of us
When you
are
say we, do you mean people or like
people in general, like everybody,
Yeah.
everybody in society, you know? Like I don't think anybody is a perfect normal human being. Every single one of us have a little bit of psychosis in us, but right now especially is like the time when people are unraveling, unwinding, radically changing, you know, it's just a period where everybody's just like really like just changing, you know? So yeah, I think it's okay for us to just be a little bit more, you know, protective of the self. Let's put it that way. I think that's fine. Yeah.
I agree.
So ease up on yourself. You know, leave those Zoom meetings. I dare you to just leave a Zoom, like enter a Zoom meeting, just do your set, and then just bounce. See how that feels. You know, like just do it. I challenge you.
Amazing.
Like go first, and then just leave.
That's so rude. Like you have to listen to other people's sets. It's like,
Yes,
not-
but think of how hard I would be laughing. I would be dying laughing, just knowing how
have
that's
to be
driving you insane after you do it. Like you're suffering after. Oh my God, I'd be dying laughing so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if this helps. Like I don't know if this helps. Like think of it as people don't really care about you as much as you think. You know,
No,
as
that's
harsh
true.
as that might sound. It's freeing in a way. It's liberating. Like after I do something and I feel bad, I'm like, I just beat myself up about it. And they're like, I literally did not think about that like at all. What the fuck are you talking about? And I was like suffering for 7 years for something I did, you know? And they're like, I don't remember. So it's like people don't think about you as much as you think about yourself.
Well,
You know? I don't know
there's
if that
also
helps.
the flip
but-
side where I'm like, oh, that was so dope how Grace left. Now I'm stuck here. I was like, we
Yeah.
could both leave.
No,
like the bitch
no,
in
we
LA
could have,
vibes.
we should have both. I should have been like, all right, you leave first, and then I'll
Okay.
exit or something. Yeah, next time I'll be more alert on that. But okay, all right. I don't want to zoom you out too much. Let me ask you some flashcard questions. So the show that I am focusing on for this episode is called All About Eve, which is the same title as a film that came out in 1950, I believe. So this is a TV show. It's a Korean drama TV show. Came out in the year 2000, and it's about two young women, very ambitious. They're rivals, and their dream is to become a news anchor. So that's the storyline. But let me ask you some questions based on the show, and just answer it like in terms of like what you would do in that scenario. So let's say you're a rich young man named Hyung Chul, and you're living in London. All right, you're from South Korea, but you're living in London, and you have a
I
best
bet.
friend. Yeah, you have a best friend from childhood. Her name is Joo Hee, and you guys have been. I mean, she's a lady. You've been friends for years. All right, for years, but she loves you. Like she's like into you. She wants to bone you. She wants to marry you, have your babies, and she keeps making it very obvious that she's trying to be physical with you, but you don't like her like that. You're not into her like that. What do you do?
Why don't I like her like that?
She's not your type. I don't know.
Um,
Why don't I like her like that? That's so interesting. What an interesting
it's
question.
just gonna. Then it's just that's how I know what I'm gonna do next. Because if you're like,
Oh, I
she's
see.
just heinous. Like that's one thing. Or if you're like, she's just so annoying. but I hear what you're saying.
No, she's actually
So,
really beautiful and
of course, 'cause she's
smart,
an actress. Yeah.
but she's just not your type. She doesn't make
Okay.
you want to commit to her. Yeah. Whatever it is,
Okay.
it's just not there for
Do
you.
I like women?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Okay. Too many follow-up questions? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think
The
here's what
most I
would
ever
do.
received. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Just want to make sure I'm on the same page. What I would do is I would find the hottest guy in London, totally her type, right? We'd all be hanging out together, and I'd help make the
Mhm.
sparks fly. Because then she's
Okay.
gonna fall in love with this amazing person, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be totally free
Yeah.
to live my life, and knowing that I did the right thing, right?
There you go. Yeah.
And then we'll probably go on double dates one day. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So next time when you're stuck in a Zoom room, you could just find like, yeah, just get your husband to sit in for you and you just go off and you'd be
Totally.
free.
We look the same.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. Problem solved. Okay. Sweet. So be her wingman is your answer essentially.
Hmm.
All right. Okay, great. So let's say you're a young woman named Sunmi. You're in London as well. Okay, you're a Korean chick, but you're in London studying abroad, learning English, traveling, doing your thing. And you meet this young man named Hyungchul, who is a couple years older than you. And he's a London person, so he like shows you around town, helps you out. He's overall very good to you. But while sitting at the park together one afternoon and just chatting, like he eats all of your lunch, like everything. He eats all of it while talking. What do you do?
Interesting. I probably go in the bathroom and cry because I'm like, what's her vibe? This is the vibe that I'm going with because she's like a young actress. Go in the bathroom and cry because he was clearly calling me fat. You know what I mean?
Oh my god. Okay. Shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But then
Got it.
let's see what his follow up is. Then I decide if we get another, date.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she got mad at him. She was like, "Why'd you eat all my fucking food, dude?" And he
I mean,
felt
that's
bad.
really
So
weird.
he bought her a hat to compromise. And when I saw that, I was like,
But
"That's not
can
food."
she eat a hat?
Exactly. Like she still hasn't eaten lunch. You ate it. I was like, she can't eat that hat. Yeah. But okay. Got it. I like the crying in the bathroom thing. Okay. I like it because it's weird. That's a weird answer.
It's like you're right, and it's like a little bit of a melodrama, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little
totally.
soapy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need drama.
It's absolutely soapy. Yeah. Yeah, go and cry in the bathroom. Like I love that. That's amazing. Okay. So let's say you're a poor girl in high school. Your name is
that's
Young Mi.
relatable.
Yeah. Your mother's dead. Okay. And
Okay.
you have an alcoholic and abusive father, but he died at work at a construction site where he used to work. There was an accident. And you have no family, you have no money. So you started working at a hostess bar and you dated one of the gangsters that run that bar in order to get by,
What is a hostess bar?
Oh, your husband is part Japanese and you don't know what a hostess bar is. That's so sweet that he
Hi,
kept
hi,
those
Bob.
things from you. But
Pregnant.
but yeah, one day, have you been to Japan yet?
No.
Okay, one day when you go to Japan, go to a hostess bar. It's great. I mean, I haven't been to one, but it's great.
Okay.
Basically, it's like a bar where the servers are a little bit more than a server, but they're not like all the way a prostitute. They're like in the middle ground of that. They flatter you and make you feel good and blah blah. You get the picture. So yeah, that's where you worked at, and it's very, it's obviously like very demeaning and it's misogynistic and it's awful. You get harassed, blah blah blah. But okay, so you're working in this hostess bar. You have this gangster boyfriend in order to survive, but you have drive, you have ambition, you want to be socially mobile. So you move into the construction company owner's house. He offered, okay, because he has a daughter of his own and he's a widower and he just saw you as a high school girl much like his daughter, he just didn't want to see you on the street. So you move into his house and you meet his daughter, Sunmi, the chick that was in London. And
But
you
we're in
look at
Korea
this
now, or were
bougie.
we?
Yeah, yeah, you're in Korea right now. Youngmi is in Korea. She never got to go to London. She didn't have that kind of privilege. But you meet the daughter of this company owner, and this bougie ass bitch seems to have it all, you know, and she's always smiling and happy. You
Mm-hmm.
hate her for it, all right? You want her life. What do you do?
So I, hmm. Generally, am I like a pretty good person or kind of sketchy person? Oh
I
no,
mean, think
no.
of all the things you went through. You went through all those things, and it didn't
Yeah.
make you proud of it. It made you resentful. We'll put it that way.
Okay. So I'm gonna want some drama here. So I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna plant something in the daughter's room, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That her dad hates, right?
Okay.
Um, this is not what Rachel would do. This is what Sungmi. Is that
Yeah.
what she would
Yeah.
do?
Young
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what
So I'm
young
gonna
me would do. Yeah.
young me. Okay. So I'm gonna plant
Yeah.
something in the room, and
Yeah.
then I'm going to frame the daughter.
Yeah.
Um, and then she's gonna go to boarding school, probably. And then I'm
Yeah.
going to move into her bedroom and take her shit.
All right. Great. Okay. Any idea what you would plant, you think?
So the dad works at a construction company. I think some marijuana, because that's pretty sketchy there,
Oh yeah, it is so illegal. They're such squares. They're like New York. It's like fucking make it legal already. All of you guys are smoking it. Yeah.
right?
All right. Got it. Marijuana. That's a good one. Okay.
Thank you.
Got it. Okay. Um. Oh, okay. So you're back to being Sunmi, the bougie bitch, the nice girl.
Okay.
Okay. Your father is a widower. He's a good man. You have a neighbor, a childhood friend of yours. Okay, a boy,
Mhm.
a man. His name is Ujin, and he's a couple years older than you are. But you've been in love with him forever, like since you were kids. And one day you find out that he's dating the bitch girl, Young Mi. What do you do?
Well, I'm like, I have all the Prada bags or whatever. So,
Hmm.
young me, I'm assuming at this point, hasn't planted marijuana in my bedroom.
Not yet.
So I'm just going to
Mm-mm.
say, I'm going to count my blessings, go back to
Hmm.
London, see what he's up to.
Okay, the other guy, the one who ate your
Yeah.
lunch.
Yeah,
Got it.
I'm done
Okay,
crying
that's
about it.
logical.
I just realized I like, yeah.
Yeah, you're over it. It's like he wasn't calling me fat. I was just having him. I was on my period. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it, got it, got it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
My period.
Yeah, I'm on my period. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, so you're back to Young Me, the bitch girl, and the old gangster thug, your ex-boyfriend from your past life when you were at the hostess bar, he revisits you, and now you're like a TV news anchor, all right? And he's blackmailing you, and he's saying that he'll expose your past if you don't give him some money. But you're on television, you have a reputation to preserve. What do you do?
I'm going to change the narrative, Grace. And
Okay,
what I'm going to
do
do
it.
is tell him,
Yeah.
tell them about my past, right? Then I'm going to
Mm.
cut together a nice 60-minute special about my overcoming adversity. And I'm going to air
Yes.
that shit. I'm going to get in
Fuck
front of
yeah.
it. I'm going to own it. And
Yeah.
no doubt my celebrity is going to grow tenfold.
God damn. Yes, that's where your marketing skills are just kicking in right now. Full gear. Yes. I love it. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, that's right. You take a sip of water. You deserve that sip of water. Okay. The power sip. Yes. Okay. All right, all right. So you're back to Sunmi, the nice girl, the bougie girl. You find out that the director of the news station is the young man you met in London, the one who ate all your lunch. And he
I'm just
seems to
recognizing
like
him?
you. Huh?
This is the first
Well,
time I recognize him.
yeah, you didn't know. I mean, you guys are both back in Seoul now. You didn't know that like he was like this rich, like successful, high-powered dude. You just thought he was just some fella when you guys met. But he,
Well,
like, now you're working at the news station and you see that the director is him. Yeah. Wait, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, I assumed he was poor because he couldn't afford lunch.
Because he ate all of yours, right?
Yeah,
But like rich people, like they're the stingiest. Like they'll do
that is
shit like that.
so
They'll like
true.
eat.
Yeah.
They'll eat other people's lunch. They won't pay for their thing. It's just always trying to get away. That's why they're
They
rich.
got this one.
Because they keep their pockets, close tight. Good for them. All right. But okay, so you're now this young anchor chick at this news station. You're just starting out. You're in the junior level, right? You have a lot of how do you say, dues to pay, so to speak. Your supervisor is the woman that he rejected, the friend that was in love with him, but he was just like not. Yeah, that's and
Wow.
she sees how you guys are dating, and she's jealous. She's jealous, so she takes it out on you by making your job a living hell. What do you do?
This is a tricky one.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I'm not gonna use him to like get back at her because
Okay.
I'm a well-traveled, smart, ambitious woman. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, which one am I again?
You're the
Am I
you're the
one
nice
who worked
girl.
at the bar?
No. You're the nice. The bitchy one is the one who worked at the bar. You're the one
Right.
who
Okay.
grew up kind of privileged and went to London and all that. Yeah.
Okay, so we're both the news people.
Yeah. Turns like the young man that ate your lunch in London, turns out he like owns the news station that you're working at. You didn't know until you started working there, and your supervisor happens to be the woman that he rejected.
Right. But my like
What a pickle.
foster sister, is also a news anchor there.
She is. She's your rival at that news station, yeah.
Okay. So what I do is okay, so I'm a news anchor woman. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the camera is rolling next time she comes at me. You know what I mean? And that's going to be on live television. Okay?
Okay.
So I think that problem's just going to take care of itself,
All right. Yeah. Let the people decide.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. Yeah, you're into public shaming as revenge, I'm noticing. Framing, public shaming. Okay, cool. Those are your MOs. Okay, it's good to know. Yeah. Okay. All right, no, these are great. I love these answers. Yeah, you would have been a great writer. I think you should go back to writing. I think you're great. Okay, so you're back to young me again, the bitch lady. All right. The childhood crush of Sunmi, the rich girl, Ujin, the one that you're dating. You dump him. You break his heart not because you don't love him anymore. You just have your eyes set on the director guy, Hyungchul, the guy that's into Sunmi, all right? The director of the news station that you're working at. And you want him. What are you raising your hand? Do you have a question?
I just I inherently hate this guy because every woman on the show is in love with him, and I just hate whoever
All
wrote
three.
this. It's just it's just a male fantasy.
But a woman wrote it. Yeah, a fucking
Oh
lady
my
wrote this
gosh,
shit.
Girl.
I know, girl. Come on. Yeah, all three parts of her want this one guy. Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so you the reason why you want him is not because you like him per se, because you're still in love with Ujin, the original guy. You want him because of the social mobility, but also because your rival Sunmi, she's in love with him too. All right, so you want to break up with your boyfriend, right? You want to end it so that you could hop on that horse, but your boyfriend he's too passionate. He won't let you go. What do you do to get him to stop loving you?
Well, first of all, I'm just going to want to clarify to him that he does not own me, okay? So there is no letting me go. Am I right? Okay.
That's right.
And then
yes.
I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to think, wow, you already planted marijuana in this girl's room, sent her to boarding school. Let's take a beat and work on self-reflection, right? Because here I was working at this host bar and her dad saved me. So
You would
I'm
think.
going to take a moment.
Mhm.
I'm going to go do some deep soul searching. I'm going to do ayahuasca in Peru because I'm rich
Yes.
now. Come
Yeah.
back
Hmm.
and be like, I'm going to be with the person I love. And I'm really sorry about that marijuana thing because I realize public shaming is not the way.
Okay. Yeah. All right, that's beautiful. I love that ending. And I love that like ayahuasca was integrated. That's bravo. That's so fucking progressive of you. I love that. Okay. Have you done ayahuasca? Just curious.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Have you done
Have
mushrooms or LSD?
you? Mm-mm. One day, though.
You haven't
I
done
will.
you haven't done any psychedelics yet?
Mm-mm. I'm very straight edge.
You and your husband should do it. I think
Yeah, well, he
you'd
can't
have fun.
do it because he's like,
What?
he does government stuff because he's an engineer.
Okay. That sucks.
But I can do it.
But you
without him.
can.
I'm also an independent woman,
You are. He doesn't own you. You can go and psychedelic up. You could go and enter the other dimensions and come back when you fucking please, because you're your own woman. Yeah, I have done LSD and mushrooms. Ayahuasca, I want to do sometime in the future. But actually, I just got back. That's why I was in Big Bear. I was doing mushrooms up there with Kristen Lundberg.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But you've done it multiple times.
I've done
You're
it.
saying?
Yeah. I did
Was it-
mushrooms a couple times before. I did LSD 3 times before. Yeah. I
Was
think
it-
it's a...
Good experience in Big Bear.
It was, I mean, I think all trips are good, like, or even if they are uncomfortable, ultimately it's still good, it's like a medicinal adventure, so to speak. So, this was a challenging trip, I'll put it that way, but like, I learned a lot from it. Like, this was the trip that people write about, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
after this experience, I was like, I understand, like, what all those fucking modernists were doing in France and shit. Like, I understand
Wow.
now. Like I said, I minored in philosophy in college, right? There was a class called existentialism and like modern philosophy or whatever. And they kept talking about like Sartre and like existential crisis. They kept talking about the dread. They kept talking about chaos and confusion and aloneness and this feeling of being hurled out into space and realizing that there's no meaning or there's just nothingness. Like, they talked about it as if it was just happening like because of the war, But they did not mention that fucking Sartre did psychedelics, And I'm like, you left out such a huge piece to the whole thing, Like, it's a humongous piece that they left out. And I'm like, how can you lie to us in school? I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed by my institution and my education because I was like,
That's so
you
true,
left out
though.
such a...
Yeah.
It was such a major... It's like saying, like the opposite. Let's say like they would just say, oh, this just happened, and like these guys, they didn't even experience World War II. They were just like hanging out in a hut somewhere, Like,
Yeah.
it's as if saying that, like, that would have been just as appropriate the way that they taught it. And I was like, after this experience, like, I understood like all the artists that I loved from that era. Like, I love like Yves Tanguy and like his weird abstract paintings. And I was drawn to them, but I didn't know, like, I didn't understand what it was. I just thought, oh, pretty colors and shapes. Now I'm like, I fully understand. I fully recognize what that is, fully. I completely get it. Although I can't quite put it into words. You know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, anyway, it's like going off on a long ass tangent. Anyway, I think it'd be great for you. I think you would enjoy it a lot. Yeah. So if you want to get into it, like, we could talk about it some more and I could put you in touch with people and recommend books and shit if you want to like research, which I think is always a good idea before people do it. But
Cool. Thanks.
anyway, okay, just a couple more and then we'll wrap up. This is going on for a really long time, actually.
Sorry, I'm really dragging out my answers. On
No, it's not you. It's me, and it's a fun conversation. Like I don't mind it. So okay, so you're Ujin. You're the guy that's in love with this bitch lady. Okay, you're just a poor guy in love with this bitchy fucking bitch. All right, and young me, the bitch, she tells you that she's pregnant. All right, she's pregnant with your baby. She says, but one day she calls you to the hospital she's at, and when you get there, she's laying on a hospital bed, and she tells you that she aborted your child because she doesn't love you anymore and she wants you out of her life. What do you do?
I am horrified. Especially after I made the decision to stop public shaming.
Yeah.
Then I just
After your
really,
ayahuasca experience, it all went out the
Yeah.
window.
It's really hard when two writers are working on the same piece and not communicating. You know,
I know, and there's like a 20-year gap between you two.
Yeah.
It's yeah,
really hard.
man.
Well, first of all, bitch needs to go. So
Okay.
I'm gonna say sorry. Not sorry. Well, obviously we're breaking up. Obviously,
Yeah, it's the final straw.
I'm sad about the baby. That's really dark. I'm gonna ask her for the info about the Peruvian ayahuasca experience because I really need something to get back on track. And like, well,
Yeah.
and I need to meet a woman who cares about me and doesn't abort a child to make me sad. Like, I'm pro-abortion, but that is
Yeah.
a really, really weird way to use it. Very, very
Yeah.
rude.
Yeah, to be vindictive with your abortion
Yeah,
decision.
a vindictive abortion is, it's a bad look.
Mhm.
So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then, yeah.
Okay.
Girl, bye. Is that enough? Okay.
I think that's enough. I think that's appropriate too. Want to know the
And
fucked
also,
up thing?
just like while I'm in the hospital, I'm going to go to the cafeteria, get a cup of coffee. I'm going to make sure it's not scalding hot because I don't want to go to prison. And then I'm just going to splash it on her.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, classic water thing. Yeah. Gotta do it. Good.
Yeah.
That would be a good moment for that. You're right. You want to know the most fucked up thing about this situation, the scenario, the scene? She wasn't even pregnant in the first place. She
I
made
was
the
almost going to say,
she made the whole thing up just to fuck with him.
So how'd
Just
you get
to
in the
ruin
hospital? She
his-
was just like, let me
I
chill here
paid
for a
somebody, I
second?
guess. Yeah,
my
probably.
God.
I think she was like, "Oh, like I need an IV bag because I'm dehydrated or whatever." And
Yeah.
the nurse was like, "Okay," and put her down. And then she called him and was like, "I just had an abortion."
Oh my gosh. Also, dope hospital.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
like
I need
it's
an
like a
IV
spa.
bag. Okay.
Dude, every time I drank the next morning, I'd be like, I wish I had a nurse and an IV bag right now. I actually heard that there's a bus in Las Vegas that does that for people.
In Billions, the show I was talking about, someone launches a business to do that.
It's an ingenious idea. It's ingenious. And they charge up to like $400 or $500 an IV bag. And people, when you're hungover and it feels like death, they're willing to pay that to feel better.
Totally.
I would have. There were so many times when I wanted an IV
I
bag.
don't think I would have. I'm so cheap. I'll be like,
I
suffer,
would've.
Rachel.
Yes, just wait it out. The Zoom is almost over. It's okay. Just wait it out. Yeah, I get it. All right. Good. Last and final question. All right. You're this bitch lady. You're young me again, okay? Your old gangster
hate
boyfriend. I know. But she's the one with all the drama, so. Your old gangster boyfriend tries to kill you, okay? While you're out on the field doing an outdoor thing. He tries to run you over with a car, but your ex-boyfriend Ujin pushes you out of the way, gets killed instead. He dies. All right? and everything about your past gets exposed. People are blaming you for Ujin's death now. What do you do?
Well, I'm just thinking like the 60 minutes approach worked for me last time where I like revealed everything, but I don't think that's going to help me in this scenario. So what I'm going to do is accept what I've done wrong. Okay. Set up a scholarship in his name.
Okay, great.
'Cause I'm a rich news anchor now, right?
Yeah. Okay. So do something good to
Yeah.
repent or whatever.
And that's gonna look really good for me. So they're gonna offer me like to be myself again, you know, work and public perception. But I'm gonna say no, and then I'm gonna go live a simple life.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. That sounds great. That's good.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Sweet. Thanks for chatting with me, Rachel. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Next week, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about The Cho Show, which is on FX. You could also see it on Hulu. If you're abroad, I don't know how you can watch that show, but I'm sure you could pirate it somehow. It's worth watching. If you can't watch The Cho Show, then look up interviews that David Cho did with Bobby Lee on Tiger Belly, or look up the interview that he did last year with Joe Rogan. I am not a fan of Joe Rogan at all. I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan's comedy. I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan's podcast, but I am a fan of David Cho, and I liked this interview that he did with Rogan last year. There's a lot of content, David Cho content on YouTube. You could just find it. You could watch the Stevie Weeby show that, David Cho was a guest on. That was actually too much for me. I was like, this is a lot. It's actually like David Cho's being really annoying on this podcast with Stevie Weeby right now. So like, I almost don't want to watch it. Stephen Lee, or Stevie Weeby from Stevie Weeby Show, he is the lead singer of Mangchi, which is the same band that David Cho is the drummer in. And he's also Bobby Lee's younger brother. In fact, David Cho's name is not even David Cho. It's David Che. And I'll talk about that next week as well. But check out David Cho's show, The Cho Show, and I will talk about it next week. But in the meantime, you can subscribe to YouTube for K-Drama School. Like, please subscribe. I'm begging you. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at K-Drama School. You can email me, kdramaschool@gmail.com. If there's anything you want to talk to me about, if you want to ask me something, if you want to just share something, email me. I read all your emails. I swear to God, I read them. And then I do what I can to, adapt and respond to them and react to them. And I put it in this podcast. So please email me, kdramaschool@gmail.com. And as always, I am grateful to every single one of you who listen every week. It means a lot to me. So thank you. And I will see you all next week.